Thank you, thank you. Welcome back, you guys, and we appreciate it when you guys join us in these particular shows. We try to have pertinent topics that are going to be of interest to you and others. Some of them are typically technology. Some of them they're typically technology. Some of them are finance and economic, world events, government issues, things going on. You name it, environmental issues occasionally as well. But we try to make sure that we talk about things that are pertinent. And this particular episode is actually episode number 7. Thank you. We call it It's the Economy Stupid. Now, It's the Economy Stupid, just for you guys who don't know, is not a slight against your intelligence or anything like that. It basically refers to the idea that a lot of times we don't know. We take for granted, what could be going on in the economy. What is the macro picture? What is the major issues going on in the world that affects our average everyday lives? Thank you. We try to do our part. We try to make sure that everyone is clued in and tuned in and made a part of what's going on, so we can understand some of the big issues and how they affect our daily lives. Okay, so we take the big issues, try to narrow it down, break it down, so that everyone can get an idea of some of the things that we need to be concerned about. Now, It's the Economy Stupid episode number 7 focuses on a number of countries. Just so you guys will know, a number of countries are actually looking at getting away from cash. They're trying as quickly as possible to go to a cashless society. And some of the countries, for instance, India. Okay, I just wrote an article, and we'll see if we can link it to that one. The title of this article that I just published is India Leads the Way in Digital Currency Adoption. And the reason why I named it that is simply because Prime Minister Modi of the Philippines has decided that I think his name was Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Okay, I'm going to quote him in a recent radio address. He says, "The great task that the country wants to accomplish today is the realization of our dream of a cashless society." Okay, so that's a direct quote. And basically what's happening is technology has made it easier to press the case against cash. Credit and debit cards can't penetrate the far reaches of the global economy. But phone payments are making cashless transactions accessible to anyone with a smartphone or a feature phone. The feature phones are basically the old school phones where you couldn't do much in terms of streaming videos and getting all the multimedia things going on with the phones. Just basically sending text messages and making phone calls. Not so much all the other things that we're doing, accessing all the apps and all these other things that we're doing with the smartphones that we have today. So in a lot of the developed countries, they have what are known as feature phones, very cheap, throwaway phones that we started using 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. They're basically still prevalent and pretty much in use in those countries. So anyway, India India, including China, Sweden, the Philippines, and Denmark, and others are tweaking regulations to nudge citizens to switch to electronic payments. The Modi administration in India insists that there will eventually be big benefits, including better tax collection, improved surveillance of crime networks, and more accurate monitoring of commercial activity itself. So that kind of tells you that digital currencies and is going to make it easier. Okay, when you switch to digitize everything and track payments, etc. electronically, that means you can better keep track. There's more accountability. But he left out, let me repeat what he said, better tax collection, improved surveillance of crime networks, and more accurate monitoring of commercial activity itself. Okay, that's only part of the picture. He left out government activities. In other words, the printing of money, the black box projects where government and military agencies get unlimited access to funding sources, etc. That is pretty much going to be coming to an end when you are tracking and tracing and monitoring payments in the way they're supposed to go, particularly with Bitcoin. I'm going to put a lot of emphasis on Bitcoin, primarily because it is the ultimate cashless technology that just happens to be a currency. And with the use of blockchain, it just happens to be a network that currency is going to sit on top of and travel, just like email and chats travel along the internet. Okay, so we're going to use the Bitcoin as an analogy in a lot of this information that I'm giving you this morning. Millions of Indians have signed up for mobile wallets, mom and pop shops, tea stalls, and rickshaw drivers who have never used a credit card have learned how to accept payments through their inexpensive smartphones. This is mostly happening because of developing technology, said Harvard economist Kenneth Rogoff, author of The Curse of Cash. This is a big wake-up call for all governments. And then you guys also, listen to this headline. Venezuelan yanks bills from circulation. Plans for rapid withdrawal of inflation-racked country's largest bills leave citizens reeling. Okay, again, plans for rapid withdrawal of inflation-racked country's largest bills leave citizens reeling. Okay, so this is similar to what's happening in India. I don't care what they blame: drug cartels, money launderers, mafiosi. I don't care what they blame. The basic problem is the currencies are pretty much being diluted to the fact that they're worthless. When you have central bankers all over the world, and I've been talking about this for the last 8 or 9 years, when you have central bankers all over the planet who keep printing money for every particular reason they can think of, what's going to happen is eventually the currency is going to fall apart. I think 90% of most fiat currencies that have ever existed are no longer in circulation. Okay, they eventually they become worthless and they self-destruct. Okay, so that's a loser's game. Okay, fiat currency is a loser's game. When we migrate completely over to digital currency, virtual currencies, particularly Bitcoin, we won't have this problem. You won't be able to incessantly print out digital fiat currency the way you did you won't be able to incessantly print out the fiat currencies like you do now. Okay, that's going to come to an end. So you won't have that problem of dilution and hyperinflation going on in your economies. Let's keep reading here. People lining up to withdraw cash from an automated teller machine in Caracas on Monday after the government announced it would outlaw the 100 Bolivar bill. Okay, so again, Venezuela is taking nearly half the country's banknotes out of circulation beginning Wednesday, which is tomorrow, threatening to ruin the holidays season for Venezuelans already suffering from dire cash shortages by hyperinflation and economic meltdown. Okay, the country's largest bill, worth 100 bolivars, or just 3 cents on the black market, 3 U.S. cents on the black market, is to become illegal in a move designed to combat contraband along Venezuela's borders. The government said, see, that's bullshit. That line right there, this is not so much about contraband, again, or money launderers or bad guys. It's about the idiots in governments all over the world. They're experiencing the same issues. Listen to the countries that I gave you, okay? This is not a Venezuelan problem. This is not just an Indian problem. China, Sweden, Philippines, Denmark, and others, including the United States, are starting to realize you get rid of these large currency notes, you try to see what's going to happen, how people are going to react. And like in India, now they have security guards and armed police officers near the banks to control the mob scenes when they finally come to the banks to demand their money. But this is what's happening. These are just test beds in India and Venezuela. Okay. This idiot President Nicolas Maduro said outlawing the notes would destroy what he claims are Colombian smuggling mafias that hoard bolivars to buy price-controlled food and gasoline in Venezuela, which is then resold at a markup, Mr. Maduro said Monday night as he was closing the Colombian border until Thursday night to prevent stacks of bolivars from making it back to the country. Okay, smokescreen, bullshit, false flag. The problem is they destroyed the currencies, they're printing too much, and now they need to do something about it. That's what I'm telling you now, okay? What else? For people in rural areas such as the fishing village of Macuro in the east, the withdrawal of the basic means of payment means nothing short of disaster ahead of Christmas. One person says, I have no idea how I will buy presents, said Jose Kelly, a fisherman, noting he is 3 hours away by boat from the closest bank or debit card terminal. It's all cash here, all 100 Bolivar notes. So again, this is a real problem. The currencies are imploding all around the world, and pretty soon, more central bankers, the Federal Reserve here in the United States, Treasury departments are looking at blockchain, they're looking at Bitcoin, and they're trying to convert over as quickly as possible before the entire economic system worldwide has a meltdown, okay? But we're seeing it take place, all right? And believe it or not, Bitcoin itself is going up to 786, okay? Approximately, I think about 3-4 years ago, I bought in around 200 or so. Now it's 786. That's a pretty decent increase, even though I have no need to sell it, or I'm not recommending this as an investment or anything like that. But you can't get that with your dollar. Okay, you can't go to your leaders in Washington. You can't go to Janet Yellen or anybody and ask them to, duplicate with the dollar what we're experiencing. The people who are holding Bitcoin like myself, what we're experiencing, you can't get that type of appreciation. It's not going to happen with the dollar. You're going to get depreciation. It's going to become worth less and not worth more. Okay, and this is unheard of to have to put your money, like we Bitcoin investors, to put your money into something and have it worth more money at the end of the day as compared to being worth less money. Okay. Life has been very hard, and now it will only get harder, said Junior Rodriguez, who sells traditional cheese sticks known as taquinos on the streets of the Caracas shantytown in the capital's West End. Again, this is in Venezuela. The collapse of the Venezuelan economy has left the government struggling just to print out banknotes, making the 100 Bolivar bill a scarce item and forcing banks to limit in-person cash withdrawals to the equivalent of $2.50 a day. Venezuela's frenzied printing of banknotes, mostly done abroad because of local ink and paper shortages, is fueling inflation, running at 470% this year and expected to hit 1,600% next year, the International Monetary Fund says. So again, this is a very revealing line right here. Venezuela's frenzied printing of banknotes. Okay, that line right there. You can't keep printing out currency. You can't keep duplicating like you're running a copy machine. You can't keep printing out money over and over again, thinking that it's not going to ultimately dilute and affect and cause the current amount of currency in circulation to become less valuable. That's exactly what's going to happen. Your dollars in your pocket, I don't care if you're in Bolivia or Venezuela or India, or wherever you are, China, Sweden, you're going to have a problem because these central bankers or Federal Reserve people in the United States, the only thing they know how to do when there's a problem is to print money. So this is going to be a recurring problem going forward. Demand for this is the another part of the article. Bitcoin rises to all-time highs. Demand for Bitcoin has increased dramatically in Venezuela as it has in India, with the amount of Bitcoin bought on localbitcoins.com more than 1,000% over the past 6 months, according to CoinDance. COIND